All right, everybody. Thank you again for joining. This is Ioannis, and today I will be introducing the TermWeb 4 version, which is the latest version of the TermWeb terminology management software. So, as I said, my name is Ioannis, and I'm the founder and managing director of Interference Technology. So, have been with the company well for 20 years, as we are also celebrating the 20 years of innovation this year. So what I'm planning to talk about today is a bit going down the memory lane for the 20 years of innovation and to show some of the functionalities and some of the systems that we developed over the years. After that, I will, of course, move on to TermWeb 4, an introduction, focusing also on the philosophy behind, because there is a lot of thought put into what we do, and there is some basic philosophy on why we design things and we develop things the way we do. And of course, after that, we will be having a first look on some of the key functionality of TermWeb 4. And we will be finishing off with discussing a bit on what's next, what is coming out of that, and after that, in the future. And then, of course, we would really love it if you would like to get in touch and learn a bit more about TermWeb. All right, so 20 years, and we started the company in '99. Believe it or not, it's true. That was the first prototype, and in 2000 we had the client-server design, which we called TermMate. And after that, in 2001, we had our first major enterprise customer, which was Scania. And we always like to mention Scania because a lot of the functionality and our focus that has been towards enterprise and enterprise use of terminology is in many ways thanks to Scania and their input. They were well ahead of everyone else those days with 5 full-time terminologies, for instance. 2002, the first TermWeb reader utilizing the internet. We started thinking that, okay, let's at least for the search part where people can search, use the internet, use the web. And this was the first web-based user interface for search when it came to terminology management software, I believe. 2003, we came out with the TermWeb 1, first with search and editing. Once you start doing something, it's like letting the cat out of the bag and people want more. So, okay, now I search, I would like to also edit my terms. Can we do this? And of course, that was a move to TermWeb 1. 2005 was TermWeb 2, completely web-based system, not just search editing, but also administration. Everything was now completely web-based. Was, as far as we know, the first terminology management software to do that. And also first TBX and ISO 639 compliant. We always support standards as much as we can. And then we have a 2011. Of course, some stuff has been happening between then. It was a release of TermWeb 3, the first with semantic relations, ontologies, customizable workflows, and the first version of the grid view editor, which was the first attempt in let's say, creating an Excel-like environment within a terminology management solution in order to allow users to edit, manage many terms at the same time, many entries, not just one by one, but many at the same time. 2012, integration with studios. 2014 was the first to integrate with IBM WebSphere, allowing us to plug into different software like ERP systems and the billing software and such. 16 was Word Server, XTM Cloud, and MemoQ. Integration is a very important part of our business, if we call it like that. I mean, we really want to plug into different tools And in the end of the day, if it is an advantage for the customer, then we are all happy. We know our place in the world. It's terminology management software. And then we want to partner with many other capable software and systems and providers to provide a very good solution for each customer. So as far as we know, this is the first that could plug into Studio, XCM Cloud, MemoQ at the same time. So you could have the terminology repository centralized and then distributed to different CAD tools. And we showed this already in 2016. And 2019, which is now, well, almost gone, we are coming out with TermWeb 4, which is a new platform. It's not an upgrade, even you would think of that. It's actually starting on a new platform, redesigning, redeveloping. And it's the first with tabs, side-by-side editing, infinite scroll, enhanced grid views, search options, and more. I will show this in a moment, so I will not go too much detail right now. And also we released the integration with Congree, which is another nice step into the publishing world. So this is what very quickly the major things happening in the 20 years that we've been around. So coming now to 2019 and discussing about our TermWeb 4 and the philosophy, I think that's important. So what was the main philosophy with TermWeb 4 was to make it simple to use yet powerful. And I know everyone says this, but we took a lot of time to make the user interface as clean as possible. There should not be a button without a function. And if we can hide buttons or combine functionality and integrate functionality, then we should do so. And that's why you already see here a new UI with very little clutter. I mean, it's a very clean and very minimalistic. And this is, for us, the way to go. At the same time, we have a lot of functionality, many different search modes and combination of these search modes that you can use. We have the tabs that allow people to work in many entries, have them open and edit them at the same time, so that you always know which entries or terms you are working on at the moment. And we also provide the side-by-side view where you can put these different entries beside each other in order to compare and to be able to have a completely different view of your terminology. So this is also something that we will show. And again, even on the administration part, a lot of effort has been done to create this. And again, as I was saying, the administration work, also we put a lot of effort to even there make it as easy to use as possible. But the main focus has been on the search editing mode, and I will show this in a short while. Another part was collaborate. So not just make it easy to use and powerful, but also to be able to make it more collaborative, which means that we've put a lot of effort on the grid view editor, so that you can actually create not just one that was with the TermWeb 4, but many, customize and share. So you can create a staging area or a grid view editor that we call here, and then you can share it with different users, different user groups. So in effect, we're creating some, let's say, smaller Excels and distribute them to different users with specific local fields. In the background, we trigger workflows, of course, traceability, history, and everything. So we are doing it in a very much controlled way. And everything is happening within TermWeb. So it is a very much a collaborative environment that will remind you a lot of how you have been working, sometimes in Excel. So, and also we try to do to automate, which is a major point of TermWeb is to automate and save time. So we have the workflows, and you can trigger in a lot of different tasks, and when this and this happens, do this and this and that. And all these workflows are working together with the staging areas, the grid views, the different users, permissions, to automate, so that you don't have to put a lot of effort on managing terms, but or administrating terms to the system, but also actually do the real terminology management work to see, okay, is this term okay? Is that not okay? Is this translated correct or not? That is terminology management work, not pushing terms around and notifying people. And integrate. We have already various integrations, some of you which you see here, but we are planning to do more. And so we will be continuing more and more, offering more and more integrations. Okay, enough of this. Okay, sorry. And the ultimate goal for us, it's a bit a secret, but the ultimate goal is to make people stop using Excel. I know we're not there yet. We have far to go, as Excel is a tough competitor, but this is ultimately our goal, to come to a point where people say, well, the advantages of using TermWeb are many more than using Excel, and Excel is not good enough anymore. So this is where we want to get to, maybe in the next 20 years, I don't know, but hopefully before. Okay, so, but let's have a look. What do you think? So what I'm going to do now is switch to another screen, and this is hopefully what you will be seeing. So you hopefully are seeing my TermWeb screen. I don't know, for some reason here it's a bit slow, so perhaps I should do like this. Okay, so this is the login screen, and this is the TermWeb 4 login, obviously. TermWeb 4 is, of course, completely web-based. Everything is permissions-based, so depending on my role, I can do and see different things. Well, I will be logging in right now as an administrator, just because I want to show you as much functionality as possible. But during this demo, I will do some things where I will be, let's say, changing roles. So I will take the role of a translator or a validator, just to show you how we can work with TermWeb. Right now, I'm logging in as admin, so I'm a super administrator, and I will have access to all the functionality. Just for information, I'm using a home network, so I have not super speeds or anything, but this is the performance you will be seeing in real life. And what I see here is actually the search view. So this is the part where I'm searching or editing. Again, if I have the permissions, okay? So search, we see here the dictionaries, so I can search in one or many dictionaries, and of course it is depending on my permissions. Target source language, so if I change here, it is updated the term list here, and you can just see the language that depends on the source. Target, I see the visible languages here, and depending on this, as you can see below in the result window here, we see that I have English and Swedish, and also we have put discreetly below the other languages that exist, but I don't really want to see them right now, but they exist in the center. So I always know, even though, okay, I just care about English and Swedish right now, but I know that there are other languages here discreetly placed. And if I want to see, okay, but I want to see the German, I can just quickly, as you see here, click the button and see them. And also I can have, if I want to have a compressed view or expanded view, or if I simply want to hide it again. So, and all this, of course, is being the TermWeb remembers all your settings. So when you log out and log in, it will remember what your settings were, how you want to see the result. And filters, we have here the quick filters, access to some of these filters that I have created and saved, or others have created and shared with me. I have them in my list and very quickly can use them. And some configurations and settings that you can very quickly select. For instance, if you don't want to see flag, you can hide them and you don't have flags anymore. It's a controversial, let's say, thing for some countries. All right, so that's it. This is most of the stuff that I have available in the menu. Now, searching is basically a click and do experience. So we have this everyday, we call it everyday, or I call it everyday search, where of course I can, if I want, scroll through these 20,000 terms that I have in this language. This is one way of doing it. Or I can start typing. So I can say and I can see all the terms in the list that are matching my conditions. So I can say code image. So I can just go to this term. Or I can do image and press enter and go through these 20,000 terms in English that we have, and get me all the ones that have the word exact search image, in this case, in them. Or I can, of course, use wildcard. I only want to see the ones that start with image. And as you can see, it's pretty quick, and it's also very easy. I mean, this is something that we are used to doing this search. So this is why I call it, search without need for training or anything. And this is actually important because the majority of the enterprise customers or customers that use TermWeb, a lot of them are search-only users. Then they should go in and search without need of training or anything like that. Another thing that we have done here is flexibility. You can see here that I can move the size and make it, if I have terms that are, let's say, long, I can just make it like that, a bit wider, the search window, or I can make it narrower. So the user interface itself is also much more flexible than before. So we showed some of this everyday search, but we also have more advanced search functionality. We have, of course, the domains. So I can create this domain tree and I can categorize my terminology. And I can, of course, search, okay, I want to search in electricity, and I want to also include mechanics, equipment, and all this, of course, we create ourselves, the domain and tree, and we can edit everything that you see on the fly whenever we want. The domains, the languages, the structures, fields, everything in TermWeb can be edited whenever you wish. So I've done a filtering now. So you can see here that we have these terms that are within these specific domains, and I can continue to search just as I did before, but now in these specific domains that I have selected. I also have the filters. So for instance, I can create let's say logical operations. For instance, let's say missing German terms, which is a filter that I created, which shows all the terms. Term does not exist in the language equals German. So I can actually, and of course I can do and or, and I have all the field and field combination, field values available to me. So I can apply this filter, for instance. Let's select this. Let's go to here, and I can combine it. So I have now, I can combine this, okay, select you. It's very difficult to, okay, sorry. I have the go to webinar window exactly over this select filter button. Hopefully you will not have go to webinar when you are doing terminology work with TermWeb. Okay, so as you can see, I have now combined domains, so the domains that I had, and also the filter which says, okay, but I want to show me only the ones within these domains that are missing a German term. So you can see here that when I click, there is no German term on this specific terms. And I can continue, and I can also use the multi-field search. Let me check. Okay, let's say that electrical. So I say in definition, I want to search now only the terms that have in definition and not the term. I can, so basically I'm making all this combination, all these my fields searchable now, not just a term level field that I had. I can select this and I can say, okay, electrical. I only want the terms in these specific domains that are missing German translation and they have the word electrical in the definition or whatever, you know, it could be many words and such. Only those three terms. You see how much powerful functionality in such little space. Okay, that's it. I mean, we have in the advanced search mode, and we can actually do one by one, apply one by one, or combine. And this is a big thing because it allows us to basically find if it is in TermWeb, you will find it, you know, because you have all these combinations that you can apply. And you can also do like this. Okay, well, now let's skip the filter about the German terms missing. So I'm combining now the domains and the multi-field search. Okay, well, let's deactivate the domains. Now I have multi-field search on them. And you can see how my results are changing. So I can just combine the way that I want. Basically, it is this is the way that we designed so that in the, let's say, as little space as possible with all these combinations, find all the terms or entries that I'm looking for. So that is also something that is new in TermWeb 4. Again, very much on this philosophy, make it simple yet powerful. Make it simple yet powerful. This has taken a lot of our time to focus on how we can do it, how we can design. Another thing that we have done is, of course, as I mentioned, the tabs. So we have here the entries, as you can see. And let's say, okay, I want to see this one, and I want to work with all my 100p terms. I don't know what they are, but let's say like that. So I open them. I just control click. I have one, control click, and control click. You can see now that when I am control clicking on terms, I open them as tabs. So this allows me to say, okay, let me edit the concept level field. So I can, you know, do something here and start editing here. I can jump to another tab. Well, I want to edit the term here. Maybe do this. I can jump to this. Oh, what was I doing here? Ah, that's what I was doing. Okay, what was I here? Ah, that's okay. So maybe I save, or I don't want to save. What was I doing here? Okay, this I could save. And what am I doing here? Well, I didn't do anything yet. Okay, so I can close this one and I can keep this one. Okay, so imagine how much more flexibility you have just by having them as tabs, because it saves a lot of time. You are working maybe with 5, 10 terms today. Well, you can have them open as tabs and you can just edit as you wish. Edit the one or the other and work in that way as well. So this is one way of being able to work with more than one term and have them open more visible to us. But the next step that we also wanted to do was, well, we thought, let's take it one more step. And I have a good example for that. This is the absorption example, as I call it. Let's say absorption. You see here we have like 3 terms called absorption. Let's jump there. Okay, so we have this one, and then we have other ones. Let's see, are they the same or are they different? Well, Control Shift click, and now I'm opening these 2 side by side, as you can see. This allows me to do, okay, actually I see that, well, there are differences. I see some more information here, different languages. Well, maybe not different languages, but I see some different information. So now, well, I can edit here and I can edit this. I can take some of the information here and copy paste it here, or I can just delete this one and use this one. And this is just the first step, because the next step where we plan to go with this function of having them side by side is the auto merge function. Auto merge will allow you to press a button which marks the differences, and then you have different options on hands. What do you want to do? You want to override or merge, or keep the one, remove the other. So that's where we are heading with this. But at this point, we are just having them side by side, and already this is extremely powerful, because it will show you very quickly, and so you'll be able to compare and say what's the difference, and then maybe move the one or copy paste and such. And also, as you can see, I can actually work in editable mode on both sides at the same time. I can also have more terms side by side. So I can add, if I have a very wide screen, I could have like 3 or 4 or 5 or whatever entries side by side, as I'm showing you right now. So this is the side by side mode that I just that we are putting some effort on. And again, and another thing that we also have in TermWeb is that basically a draft. So whatever you do, you start doing something, and then something happens. Oops, I click here, or my computer died, or whatever. In order for you in TermWeb, you will not lose this information. You have this warning. You say edit your changes, and you can continue to left off. You see what you were doing. Either save or discard. And this is also a very powerful thing that we are adding, the draft kind of work. So you're working in drafts until you actually publish your draft or save your draft. And this goes in this mode, but also in the grid views that I will be showing you very soon. So this is basically some of the functionality that is new, where we have the side-by-side, the tabs, and the new ways of searching. Of course, we also have, as before, we have the relations. So between terms, and let me go to the animals just to show you that we have done a little change on how they look. So the graphs that we have here have now changed from TermWeb 3. And of course, you can see how we can go through these terms and then, of course, jump to the terms where going through this relation graph. So this is also something that we changed a bit, we upgraded a bit. Now, let's jump into a technical term sample, which is where I want to show you some cool things working with staging areas, with these grid view editors. If you have used TermWeb 3, you know that there is one staging area or one grid view where you can put some terms and work on. Well, in TermWeb, we decided to take this to the next level. So one thing that I can do very quickly is, for instance, to apply a filter. So let's use our missing German terms. And let's now add them. I can either mark and add, or I can just add all of them, all of these terms in the list to my grid view or this staging area. So I press here, the button, and I can select which staging area that I want to use. Okay, translating TT sample D, that sounds like a good name. So what I'm doing now is I'm taking all these terms that I have in the list, and I've added this in the staging area that I already had created from since before. This is a translating TT sample. So as you are seeing here, loading drafts. We are loading drafts. So whatever I'm doing here is just a draft. It's not the real thing. I can be here with my entries for a while. I can have them for days. Hopefully not, because you want to get done with some things also. But you can have them here, keep them here, work with them. Save, it is auto saved. If someone updates somewhere else terms that are in your draft, they will be updated. Or there is a question, do you want to update, or do you want to keep your changes if you have done some changes? So there is a lot of functionality here for people to be able to collaborate. But you see here, I have a specific look. I've added my terms. This is the English and the German. If I want, I can also, depending if I have access to these fields, I can also see more of information if, again, I am allowed to. And if I'm a translator, I can just start, you know, either search. Okay, service, and I can search in one or many languages at the same time. So I found this term already. I can also start working. So basically, how do I work? Well, I apologize to all German speaking here, but I don't. So I simply, oops, sorry, skip. So translator comment, this must be okay. And then I jump to another. Oops. I press tab, and that's how I enter my information here. The translation, let's say it. So that is fine, and I can do. I can also add. You know, in the fields that I have access to, I can also add information and such. I can also, for instance, put this is a test, and I can mark and do an attached cross-reference to circuit test in this case if I want. So I can do a lot of things as I would work, let's say in a spreadsheet. So I can scroll down and up as I do. And this is now me, Yanis. Okay, I have run a filter. The terms are missing translation. I have put them in my staging area, and well, I can work with them. This was, you know, as far as TermWeb 3 came. But in 4, I can also go to workflows. I can go to my staging area. I can see that this is the staging area that I work on. Click on it. And I say, okay, I want to share this, and I want to share this with my group translators D. It's just a user group that I have with you know, specific people there. In this case, translators. Okay, so I save this, and now I will log out and log in as a German translator. So I'm a German translator. In this case, I have access to a lot of the same information, but I also say here I have my own staging area where I can, you know, work with my own terms, but also I have a shared staging area. I see that Gustav has shared one area, some terms that I need to translate, and Yanis has also done this. And I can open Yanis staging area. So now this is opening, and look here. What Yanis has done is already visible. So all the stuff that I do, I can put comments or stuff, information, this is visible to me. Because I can apply permission schemes or permission settings in TermWeb, I can also, I am blocked, for instance, in this case, this language is locked for me. I cannot do anything here. I cannot change the English terms by mistake, okay? These are here, they are visible, but I cannot do anything with them. I am only allowed to change the German terms, add terms, okay? So I continue and I do test. I have to say test and other stuff like that. I'm sorry. This must be okay. I can also add a little attachment, maybe make this person a bit happier. I can have these PDFs or JPEGs, videos, whatever. So let's put a puppy. People who know me know that I like puppies. So, and this is again drafts. I am not allowed in this mode to save myself. I'm not allowed to mark these things and publish them. You see the publish button, that is this thing, is not available to me. And this is because in this case, Yanis said, no, you're not allowed to save before validation or publish. So you are allowed to put your translations, but when you're done, the workflow will trigger, notify us that you are done. Then I will log in. I'm Yanis. Okay. So now I'm Yanis. I know it's a bit confusing a bit, but now I'm Yanis, the project manager. I go to this, I got an email from a workflow saying that, you know, the terms are done. Have a look. And I can go to these ones. No, sorry, that was not. Sorry. Now it's. I should go to this one, this staging area, and I will see these changes that were done. I can see the puppy, I can see the comment, and I can continue. Well, I can now, for instance, mark. Oops, sorry. I can mark. Let's say that I want this and this and this to be published. You see now that I have this publish functionality available to me, so I'm allowed to do it. He is not. I have access to English. The German translator does not. So we are automating so many things here. We are applying filters to filter out relevant terms, missing Germans, or, you know, with a certain status and such. We have workflows behind notifying people, providing them permissions or revoking permissions. We can, as a project manager, just put all these terms in a grid and then share it. So translators or validators or some other group of users don't need to do this job. It can be very handy, for instance, if you want the input of your end customer, end user. Okay, here are 10 terms. Could you please say if they are okay? This translation in this domain and subject area expert. Can you please confirm that they're okay? You put them in the grid and you share them with your customer. So your customer just you know, logs in and accesses a shared folder and says, okay. That's it. It can be used in so many different ways. And the thing is that these different staging areas and all this stuff can be happening in parallel. So you can have some for translation purposes from specific domains or categories and such. You can have some that are on validation from specific areas, and you can have some for you know, customer control or something like that. So what we are doing is creating this customizable, fully traceable, with workflows support, small Excels. You know, I apologize for using Excel, but for spreadsheet areas, and sharing them with different groups. But the control we always have, and it's always within TermWeb. It's not files moving around or flying around. And it's completely full control. So if someone does changes in the drafts that you are seeing, you will be notified and you will have options how to handle those things. So you can see that we have spent a lot of time and effort to make this kind of staging functionality. And this is just a first step to what is coming later. I will not tell you, it's a surprise, but we will be putting even more strength, or let's say more power and functionality in these areas. So this was a very quick example of the how we could do with the translation, but I can also show you, for instance, how we do it from the scratch. Just show you the steps. So let's say that I have another filter where I have some terms that are ready for validations, and I know that these are we want to validate the Swedish. Let me remove some filtering here. Okay. So we have a filter process ready for translation. So we have these specific terms, and we want to just see that, you know, they have. You can see these terms. They have ready for validation in the Swedish. So these terms are ready for validation. In the workflows, just so you show you how everything is so closely connected here, we have a validation workflow which says that when someone changes a term and updates, and the process status equals ready for validation, what we had, and language is Swedish, okay, so and Swedish ready for validation, then send an email. So I send an email to validators group with information. Hey, you have some new terms to validate, and also, as you can see in the email, you see exactly the terms even there, and we can say how often and how then. We can do a lot of things and trigger a lot of other things that will be happening in this task. But okay, it's very simple. Update. It is for the Swedish terms. Other languages, other statuses can be completely different things to happen. Okay, we have this thing. So We have a trigger that notifies the validator group, the Swedish, that they will be having terms to validate. We have here, I have now accessed the filter, and I have these terms here. And okay, let me create the staging area. So I create the staging area, I give it a name, validate the Swedes. Okay, and I want to share it with my validator group. Save. That's it. I created this validate the Swedes area, and I can have many, as you can see here. I add them, so mark and add validate the Swedes. They will now be added in this staging area. It's loading, so I have all the fields available to me because I can then hide. So in this case, perhaps we just need to see validation status and comments. That's the fields that they need to see. And well, its languages, English and Swedish. Actually, this can be automated. We have templates and other views that can hide automatically all these things. But now let's say I'm doing it like this here. So I've hidden it. Validation, I see some, I can adjust the width, as you can see, which is also very useful if my mouse can cooperate. So like this and this. Okay. So my validators have been notified. I have just applied the filter and created the staging area and shared with them. And now I am a validator Swede. So I'm not Yanis anymore, I'm the validator. I am logging in, I am in this user group. I go to the staging area and I expect that I have a staging area, validate the Swedes, as I can see here. All right, I open this, loading the drafts, and you can see here, okay, we have the information exactly as Yanis, the PM, the project manager, created and shared with me. Again, I am a Swedish, the English is locked for me. I cannot change statuses here by mistake or do anything like that. And I can start saying, okay, approved, or I can mark this, this, and this, and I can say not approved, terrible. Yeah, I think you get the point. And this is drafts, okay? Again, I cannot just save the content and put it out there unless someone admin gives me these permissions. If they trust me, then that can also be possible. But more often, I think that you need an extra step. And this is it. You can continue like this, working in your part with only the information you need to see. Actually, if you want to see, okay, but I have definition here also. Let me check about the definitions. Okay, and I can do like this, so I can make it wider, narrower. I can see some links and all this reference information, domains, subdomains. So all this information is also available to me, and I can do my job quickly. And that's it. That's the big thing that we did, I think, in TermWeb 4. It's how we simplify the sharing of information with different user groups, making it relevant, making it quick, and making it easy. So these are our key points that we focused a lot of our efforts on. And we spend a lot of time doing and redoing, designing and redesigning to make it as easy as possible. And everything here triggers workflows in the background. It's also, of course, is noticed in the history. Everything is traceable. It's doable or undoable. So everything is within the world of TermWeb. And it's made for collaboration. It's made for many different users working together, even if there are many more than one Swedish validator, for instance, in the validator group. This is the tool for this. And of course, as before, if I'm now Ioannis again, I will have to check my head after this webinar, so I really know who I am, but I know that now I am at least Ioannis. And I can, of course, go in and see, validate the Swedes, all these changes that the Swedish validator has done so far. I can see. And it's also a nice way of seeing the progress. Where are we with these validator terms? How many have been validated? Okay. And so it's not like a surprise when someone is using an Excel file somewhere. Did they start? Are they doing something? Is anything going on? Shall I remind or not? In this way, you see it. You see that, okay, they've started. They are doing this work already. Then I can take it easy. I don't have to be, after them and all that. So staging areas with the share, that's a big thing that we are coming out. And this is just, let's say, the first step on the way to our target or our goal, which well, you saw it with red letters, which is to get rid of Excel for terminology management use. Eventually, okay. Right. So when it comes to this functionality, this is basically what the big main things that we've done with TermWeb 4. A lot of other stuff is happening, of course, in the admin, all these dictionaries, the domains, everything that you can manage and edit on the fly whenever you want. Of course, the workflows, as you see, you can create custom workflows where they trigger on different tasks and conditions. And then, so you say when someone adds a term or imports a term or does an update and these conditions are met, well, then you have a number of functions in your hand. You can send emails, change permissions, change field values, move terms around in the system. And we can cut down at least 60% of the administrative work, not the terminology management, administrative work, which is actually a lot of time in systems like this is like useless time going to administrative job, moving time, notifying people, sending emails, reminding people, taking in files, sending out files. All this we automate and try to get rid of. And of course, everything is working very closely together with permission schemes, where it show you exactly on very much functionality level, which functionality you have right now, and connected to workload. So we can say that I have this kind of functionality available to me, edit terms, when certain status is there, certain conditions are met, but afterwards, when those conditions are not met anymore, then I don't have this edit term functionality. So I can grant and revoke permissions depending on where we are in the workflow. So this was a bit of the, let's say, a little teaser. Hopefully you will be interested enough to get in touch so that we can continue and show you a bit more in depth. There's a lot of functionality, but obviously this is just an introduction. It's not a training session right now. So that's very quickly about TermWeb 4. I hope that this was fun. I will just continue and now share. Let's see, how can I share my oops, okay, sharing my there. Okay, so all right. So we had a look on TermWeb 4, and moving forward, what we will be doing and working with is update, upgrades, and more. As I said, TermWeb 4.0 is just the start of the new platform. We have many plans and many new exciting ideas on how we can optimize the work for terminology management as a whole even more. It's not AI, it's not magic, it's just, rolling up your sleeves and saving a lot of valuable time. It's a system where people can actually do work and do it quickly and in an optimized way. New integration improvements, that's also an exciting area. We have more and more people that want to work with us and cooperate with us, and this also shows that we are on the right path. And we have also improvements planned for the integrations that we already have today. And if you want to check, we'll be working also a bit with our TermWeb.store, which is a web shop for let's say smaller license package as a SaaS, and they are available there, and we will be continuously updating and working more with that. So basically, we will be also offering more webinars. You will be hearing more from us. I know we've been very quiet so far. But from now on, there will be demos through webinars. There will be training sessions. There will be a lot of information webinars coming your way. So we will be sending out invitations, and hopefully you or your colleagues can make it. We also will have a lot of training videos and training information available, let's say less words and more by examples, by videos, short videos. So we are focusing more on multimedia and media for moving forwards and providing different guides, tutorials on the web. And basically, I want to thank you all for this time. If you happen to be at LokeWorld, please come by booth 128. I will be there, so it would be great to chat with you. I will also be bringing some Swedish candy. I think half of my suitcase will be with Swedish candy. I hope that I'm allowed into to US with that. And I'll be looking forward to seeing every one of you. So thank you for your time. There will be no Q&A at this point. It was more an introduction. You are more than welcome to get back to me, get back to us with your questions or with your webinar request. We can do specific demos for you and dive, let's say, more into details and more in depth when it comes to TermWeb. So again, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your time. We appreciate it. Have a wonderful day or evening or morning or wherever you are. And hopefully we can meet soon. Thank you and goodbye.